Good afternoon. It is January 14th, 2022, and today I thought this might be a channel. Yeah, I think it might be a channel, but today really we had a range day, as you can see. There might have been a channel right here. You can see midline. Here we get a bounce, here we get a bounce, and here we get a bounce. So that's probably valid, but really you just had to play the range. And you can see the overnight highs and lows, and here we broke down a little further, actually right here, but came back to yesterday's close, and then we broke beneath it a little bit more right here, and just same thing. So that's probably, yeah, that looks like we have matching lows right there, so that would really help you with this. And yeah, that midline looks great. So let's take a look at these trades I marked. So we have this steep sell-off in the overnight, and then we just formed some congestion in our pull back to the EMA. So I think first, second entry, that's way too far. And make a new low. First entry, second entry doesn't set up well. But when we get this, looks like a double test. Make this high, test it once, test it twice. Gives you a nice bearish bar off the EMA. Personally, I like that entry, even though it's congestive. I thought we would at least test these lows. But that's definitely a risk you have to be willing to take. And then all this is just too far from the EMA for my liking. And looks like a double bottom here. First entry, failed second entry short. But I just felt like it was too early to go long. Then we form this congestion. We have a counter trend break out of that congestion, or counter bias, I should say, because the bias was only up because we broke into this congestion right here. But you know, in the overnight we were selling off pretty heavily. And this is actually, you have a first failed second entry right here. That's actually off this level, so you might consider that, but it's just too far from the EMA. But if we draw a trend line, let's see if that changes anything. And so you might, oh, that looks pretty good after the fact, but I mean, yeah, it's just too far from the EMA, and bias is still looking down, so I'd be too nervous to take that. We come up here, we break this channel, and pull back, first entry, second entry, no setup, and then we get this higher low, which I would like normally, but you're going right into these highs, and you can see it turned down right here, so that just seems risky to me, unless you went on the engulfing bar. But yeah, that's too risky to me, I think. And then you get a second entry, and that confirms this yellow channel. Okay, you can see this yellow channel right here. This second entry does confirm that, but it sets up beneath the EMA. We are in this channel too, so I was thinking maybe we would pull back too. So that's tough. That's a tough one. If it set up above the EMA, I would mark that blue though. Then you get a first entry, failed second entry, short, but look how congested that is. So it's tough, man. But that's off the yellow channel as well. And that takes us to the top of this channel right here. But it doesn't take us to the top of the yellow channel, so that's probably what leads to this break. And you get a first entry, failed second entry long, which I do like. But once you get this doji right after, and then you have 4 dojis stacked up, it doesn't turn out to be much price rejection. So it's tough. And then we get first failed second entry short, and that sets up above the EMA, which I like, but I mean, look, there's overlap, and we didn't make it to the bottom of this channel, so it's just price action's all over the place by this time. So it did get a little easier to read a little later, but we have this counter. We broke up into this congestion, so this looks like a hidden second entry. So you might have treated that like a failure. So as Mac always says, there's a bunch that you could argue for. You get a higher low right here, and then you get a failure right here, but that's in the middle of the range. So yeah, I don't like that. Then we break out with the bias, and then it just sells off. Probably just because we are at yesterday's closing price. So then we form this downtrend. You see we get a leg down, and we get a bounce off the channel here. Comes back, bounces. Here, I marked this red, but now that I'm looking at it, we don't make it to the bottom of that channel. So that's a little aggressive, but that is definitely a failed second entry long. But you can see it run out of steam. We get a break of this channel, and then first, second entry short. So I'm about to change this to green. You get a second entry short, and we're on both sides of the EMA, so I'm marking that red. And we're just chopping around here. We form this spike and channel down. I don't see anything I really like in this. This kind of looks like a double top here. First entry, failed second entry. Very, very bearish bar. But also what I like about this is I looked at this as a range. We come out, test it once, and test it a second time. So that's why I like that. And then I looked at this as a double bottom. First entry, second entry short. Very bearish bar. Also a first time counter trend break out of this range. So I like that. Then we form a spike and channel up, and you get a first entry, failed second entry short. And let's see in the context, why did I like this so much? Maybe because we looks like we matched these lows, so we had some momentum going this way. We're also making a higher high here, higher high here, higher lows. Then we break up into this congestion, and you can see we matched these highs, so it looks like that's probably why we got congestion right there. We break out against the bias. We test this area once, and then we come back and test it a second time, and I really like that setup. It's kind of like a failure, and we're just chopping on both sides of the EMA all day pretty much, and you can see it here, and then it goes back up, and then here, and then so I'm expecting it to go back down. I like that. And here, I looked at this as a first failed second entry, but I got trapped here on my practice account. I think it was on my practice account anyway. First entry, failed second entry. So the reason I came to for it not working is it looks like this is a channel down here, and you get an overshoot. Overshoots typically lead to a break. Also, it looks like we got two legs down, so we should expect two legs of correction, and that's one leg of correction. So I don't think there's any way. Unfortunately, the second entry doesn't set up well. The second entry short, so I don't see any way to get in on this move down. Then we come down here, and this trade is a really nice second entry short. That signal bar is beautiful. I think you have to take that. But when we make this matching low, and we test it once, looks like twice, and looks like a third time, and then you get this first entry, second entry long. I like that, and I think that sets up very well, and I wanted to take that. And if you don't get in on that, off the channel you get a higher low. I think you can take that. This is all far from the EMA. First entry, second entry. That's the first break of this channel, and you can see that we have a leg. That's two legs down, but that's below the EMA, so I wasn't comfortable doing that. But then when we come back here and get a matching low with this, with a second entry long, very bullish bar, and room back to the EMA, I like that. That gives us a steep leg up. We get a break of that. And this is at a pretty important price level, so when you get this lower high, you might consider going short right there, because this looked like a range to me. And then that's a first entry, second entry long, very bullish setup. Looks like a breakout pullback to me. And then you get a higher low here. But if you're expecting prices to come back down into this range, you have a second entry short right here. So there's reasons to be entering both of those. Then it gets too congestive here. Then we come back up, and you don't get a second entry set up, but then you get a higher low set up. And that's actually, no, that's the second entry. First entry, second entry, and it's off the trend line. So I think you can take that. And then just a first entry, little spike and channel up. That fizzles out. And that brings us to this. This actually was, I wasn't even paying attention. This is after 1 o'clock, so you probably don't want to take that. That's what I saw today. I did not trade well today. I came in early and was eager and took some. I accidentally took some trades too. Luckily, they were both good trades, but let's take a look. So I did take this aggressive setup early on right here. I am okay with that though. And then I went short here on a second entry. But look, we have a break of this overnight channel and a move to a new low. So I think you just got to be patient and see what's happening here. And for that reason, this is probably a good trap, but that I didn't mark. And then here, look how congestive this is. And I took a second entry long. So that's just poor behavior. Now let's see what else we got. Okay, I went short here. I'm okay with that. It's aggressive, but it looks all right. I do look at this as a second entry. Like this is a double bottom, first entry, second entry. Break back into congestion as well. So I'm okay with that. And then this one I went long on, second entry long. I like that too. I think that's all. I think that's all I took. So hope everyone had a good day. Hope everyone has a good MLK Day. Honoring a great person. So God bless everyone. Have a good weekend.